for Nanami.
Hello everyone.
Hello.
Sometimes silence solves the problem. I believe that. Some people say that we need to argue. We need to argue to get a good solution. But I don't think it happens all the time. For example, when we have to argue something with people who are in different situation, or people who have different opinion. Which way do you prefer, to be silent or to say something to other people when you are in a conflict? So I'm going to talk about my experience that started my thinking about how can I survive in a conservative situation, conservative society. So my title is Possibilities of Silence. This is my world map. I'm going to talk about my story. It's about between my colleague and the manager. And second one, I'm talking about analysis. And then finally, I'm going to talk about what I've learned. Okay, I'm going to talk about my story. When I worked at a trading company, like 3 years ago, I had a cooperative colleagues, and I had a cooperative manager. They were such a nice person, nice people. At that time, I was the youngest person in our company, so my colleagues are very, very nice to me, and they gave me a detailed explanation every time I did something. I did something that I had never done before, because it was my first time. So, and I really like to work there, because everyone helped each other, and everyone was really nice to me, and the atmosphere was very good for me. Yeah, I felt like we were like very close friends, not just like colleague and customer or something. So every March, the manager have the opportunity to be transferred to another branch. We have a lot of branches in Japan, and our manager was ordered to be transferred just one day, and we had a big farewell party for her, because she was such a nice person, and we were sure that we would miss her. A few days later, when the new manager came to our branch, the way our office worked totally different, like totally changed. The new manager was such a conservative person. She doesn't want to change everything, and she was strict with the rules. So she ordered us to wear clothes that are very simple and not gorgeous. And even though we were there were no rules about clothing colors. We could wear, before she came to our branch, we could wear everything that I wanted. But she changed the rules. She ordered us to wear dark clothes, only white or black or gray or something like that. So she wanted to do whatever she wanted, and she wanted to control the rules in our branch. So one day, one of my colleagues complained about what she had done, and my colleague told everything that the manager had done to headquarters. But one of headquarters told the colleague that the manager was in charge of everything. So it means the manager could control our rules. So she had all the rights to control the rule. So we had to obey her, whatever she wanted to say. Everything. Sorry. After my colleague complained about that, my colleague's relationship with her got worse, because one of headquarters had told the manager everything that the colleague had said. Then my colleague got fired. So this was my story about colleague and headquarters and manager. So now I'm going to talk about my analysis. There is a step. First one is this conflict began when the new manager came to our branch. That was the first step. And the problem started to be bigger and bigger from this point. The atmosphere in our place had been very good for everyone, but suddenly the situation changed because of the new manager. I guess my colleague wanted to be in a safe place, like a very friendly place. So that's why when the new managers came to our branch, my colleague wanted to say something and she wanted to complain about that. So because maybe I guess she was confused that it had to change, like differences. The second step, the conflict was made worse by the person who was working at headquarters, because one of the headquarters said everything that she had heard. After my colleague who complained about that, she might not trust other people because there is no secret. So there is no privacy or secret. This feeling spread to the whole branch where I worked, and we were not enthusiastic anymore, and we were not motivated. Okay, this is an analysis of my story. Now you know how the conflict was built, because there was just 2 steps and it's getting worse and worse. So I'm talking about my how I learned, what I learned from conflict. I think my colleagues should not have complained about that because we already knew the personality of the manager, because she was really strict and she was very conservative, and she was such an emotional person. She was very easily influenced by what people said to her. So every time she ordered to us to do something, she was obviously she was really in a bad mood. She was like, for example, she was get angry or in something bad mood, and we knew that it didn't take such a long time for her to calm down. So we had to stand and we had to obey what she said. So at the same time, I know how my colleague felt, because she was the new manager was so selfish and egoistic. She wanted to do everything she wanted. So she should not have, the new manager should not have brought her emotional thing into her work. So before, before my colleague complained, we could have thought the another things, like another idea, such as we could send an anonymous letter to company to say something. So if we did that, to send an email or anonymous letter to company, we might she might not have been fired. So finally, in my opinion, sometimes we should not complain, and sometimes we need to stay in a situation and to spend much time to calm down. And especially at work, sometimes customers might complain about the stuff, like the clock or something. But if I were in this situation, I would not complain. I would apologize to customers. Or our bosses order us to do something outrageous, but if I didn't follow the orders of bosses or headquarters, we would be fired. So we had to follow them. So I think sometimes we shouldn't. Sometimes we need to argue something, but we should do them. Argue or complain as very important things, but I think we should do them in an appropriate situation.